A very good afternoon, Team Zimbabwe. My name is Ronald Huekwamakusha, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network, where we give you the latest trending news in the nation of Zimbabwe. Our wish is to become Zimbabwe's #1 online platform, and we are working towards that. So let us talk about Nyika Inovakwa Neve Nevayo, and we want to answer this question. Is President Emerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF sincere when they say Nyika Inovakwa Neve Nevayo? Isu Seve Neve Zimbabwe. Are we ready to rebuild Zimbabwe? Are we doing enough to rebuild Zimbabwe? And the reflection is from the government itself, because the government represents the people of Zimbabwe. When you see the government of Zimbabwe failing, it means the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe are failing. When you see the people of Zimbabwe failing, it means the government of Zimbabwe is failing. It works together just like that, because these are just representatives of the people. So let us get deeper. Let us hear what President Emerson Mnangagwa had to say, so that we get to the gist of today's story. Stay tuned.
But dreams developing Africa. If they do so, they wake up and they say, what has gone wrong? And yet we have our people are admiring and aspiring to develop Europe. The development of Africa must be driven by us, Africa's citizens, from Cape to Cairo, through deepening our cooperation as well as exploiting our collaborative undertakings and regional synergies from the resources given by the Lord above without us asking for those resources.
It's true that Zimbabwe was blessed with so much resources, but Africa as a whole, it was so blessed with so many resources, but we were doomed. Why? It's because the leaders we elected are useless. The leaders we elect do not tally with the resources we have. So they don't have that capacity to drive our economies forward, to make sure that our economies get the necessary results. Why? It's because these leaders, they are greedy, number one. These leaders, they are corrupt. These leaders, they are selfish. So once we have heartless people taking a lead in Africa, the entire African continent, the only leader who is doing his best or who is trying is the president of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema, the president of Rwanda. These are trying. These two gentlemen, they are trying to do something. But the rest, they're doing actually nothing. What they do is, it's true that Africa does have all resources. If you look on the phone and computer industry, DRC is sustaining the whole world because they supply cobalt, which is so important in the manufacturing of gadgets. But where are these gadgets being manufactured in? They're being manufactured in Europe, in Asia. If you come to Zimbabwe, we have lithium. But is Zimbabwe able to produce its own batteries? No. So if President Emerson Mnangagwa was sincere, we were supposed to take experts from China, from these developed countries. We take a few experts in the battery industry, in the gadgets industry. We bring them to Africa, we fund them, and they begin to do something in the land. We begin to have our own batteries here in Zimbabwe. They work together with our engineers, they work together with our militaries to make sure that we build a sustainable economy. But our military is not being used for research. Our military is being used to harass, to beat people, to stop protests. But if you go to developed countries, the military is being used for research, is being used for advanced technology research. So we need leadership which is going to agree that we have the necessary resources. Those resources must not go out. So the ZANU-PF government, for an example, is running away from the Europeans, from the Americans, and going to the Chinese, which are much more exploitative. And what does that benefit the country of Zimbabwe? Nothing. The governments in Africa are prioritizing buying weapons to suppress their own people, not to defend their own lands. We want to see the military embarking on massive manufacturing of weapons. not to fight its own people, but to defend itself from other countries which are so powerful, to defend the minerals and the resources we have. That is what we need to see. But it's vice versa. In Africa, they are buying weapons to kill us instead of buying weapons to protect us. If you speak against the government, they will arrest you. If you go to the government and give a presentation, they will never hear you. They will never take you seriously. Why? It's because they don't care about their own people. So if President Emmerson Mnangagwa is serious about these words he is saying, to say we need to make sure that everything starts from Africa, number one, he must show exemplary leadership. Number one, admission into university must be based on two categories: academic category and thinking or invention category. We must have universities and polytechnics opening new slots for thinkers, new slots for innovators. If I go to University of Zimbabwe and say, I can make a gun, University of Zimbabwe must not ask me, do you have 5 O levels? No, that is hogwash. That is nonsense. That is the kind of education we have here in Africa. That is the kind of education we have in Zimbabwe. So you cannot speak about an independent Africa or an independent Zimbabwe without talking about education independence. Because it starts with innovators. It starts with the people who found this, who invented this. We are using theories which were invented elsewhere. What kind of theories do we have? Myself, when I was growing up, I was living in the rural areas. There is a man in Zidangarembwa. That man had a certain concoction. Yekuti paronda akadira paronda. Within 5 days, ronda rinenge raoma. A deep, very deep cut. Inotonzi irikuda mazimishonga anodhura. Just a concoction from that man. Yaiomesa ronda very dramatic. I saw it nemaziso angu inini. So those people, they went to the graves with their knowledge of those herbs, very powerful herbs. But our leaders don't even care about them. They're not even taking those people to say, let us bring these herbalists together. Let them make my researches. Let us find mishonga iri so powerful. Let us make my patents of those medicines and make sure that Africa begins to sell medicines to other countries. They're not doing it. But we have enough herbs in Zimbabwe to sustain the economy. The herb industry only, if enough research is put into that industry, it will sustain the economy of Zimbabwe, because we will get billions and billions from the sale of those herbs to other countries, because nobody will debunk them, because they will be very, very effective. But Zimbabwe and Africa are not going through that route. They have their own route of using China, of using vamwe vanhu. So when you are saying kune vamwe vanhu vari kuda kuti ma-Europeans, so you are just replacing the Europeans by the Chinese, which means you have done nothing as a leader. You have done nothing. There is nothing which is changing, because what was being taken by the Europeans is not being taken by the Indians, is not being taken by the Chinese. So what have you done? Who is going to benefit at the end of the day? So we need innovative leaders who are going to say, my traditionalists, come here. We need herbs. Do your researches very well. We begin to test all those things scientifically, and we prove them. We need people who are going to say, we have resources, but we don't have an industry. Let us build an industry. You bring experts from the countries like China. You bring some people there with expertise. You employ them. You begin to manufacture things. How is a computer manufactured? Bring an expert from China. Start the manufacturing of a computer from zero. Start manufacturing of cell phones from zero, because you have the resources. Start the manufacturing of batteries from zero. That is what Africa should be united about. Do it. You are the leaders. You are influential. Do it right now. Don't wait. So don't say about the people in the opposition. Don't blame the people in the opposition because they don't have power. They don't have influence over anything. You have the power, you have the influence, you have the resources, but you run to the people without the resources, people without anything, just because they have brains. But you have put your brains on rest. Why? It's because you don't care. So I implore, I appeal to the government of Zimbabwe and the entire African governments to say, go and revisit the curriculums you are teaching our kids in the universities, in the schools. Go and revisit them. Start afresh. Design an education system which is going to benefit Africans, which is going to benefit Zimbabweans more. That is the kind of education we need. Devise a system where innovators can get places at universities and polytechnics without 5 O levels because they are thinkers. That is what we need. So, our education cannot be based on memory only. It must be based on memory, innovation, and everything. So, this is it. This is my opinion. This is my view. I played the video and I have made my own comment. I don't know how you feel about it, how you think about it. Simba mukandasama hanzi vechidiki ngatisvinurei. We are oppressors of ourselves. Let us not be the problem. Let us not blame the leadership. Yes, I agree with you, Simba Kandasama. Isusu, reflect kuti iwewe waitei. Before you attack others, before you point fingers on others, ask yourself, what have I done? So myself, I have invented something, but that idea is not being accepted. Your own people will not accept an idea. They not. But they want to steal that idea and sell it elsewhere. That is what Africans are good at. So this is it, Team Zimbabwe. I have made the presentation here. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for the support you've been giving to us. Merry Christmas. Please drive safely. Please be safe. Because God is the supreme leader. He is the protector and he is our everything. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for the support. My name is Ronald Wekwamakusha.